Alright, hey everyone. People have been asking about the bread I've been making, and they've been asking that I should do a video of some sort of cooking things, and seeing as how the whole world has bought up all the flour and the yeast, you must all have flour and yeast in your house. So I figured why not make a little quick video of the process of this bread baking. Now, this will be a 3-4 part video because it's multiple steps. So I'll put in the comments below this video the recipe. And basically, just to summarize, I'm prepping this dough with a Biga, which is a pre-ferment that will start tonight and go into the fridge before I go to sleep. And then it will sit in the fridge. Tomorrow I'll take it out an hour before I'm going to break it apart and then put it into the complete dough, which will then proof and all that stuff until finally it'll be baked in a Dutch oven. So this is a little different than a lot of those Dutch oven breads that are out there. These recipes that are super duper simple. If you've never done bread baking before, yeah, go make one of those perhaps. They're very hydrated, no knead. So they're really easy, but I find that the results they're fine. They're not great. So in an effort to make some better bread, I've been messing around with the Italian bread recipe, more or less from the Peter Reinhardt Bread Baker's Apprentice. So that's kind of what this is based on, but it's kind of in the style of Calandra's, which any of you from New Jersey probably know Calandra's makes the best bread. If you haven't been to their actual bakeries, you haven't lived. I've been to Italy 5 times, and I've had some great bread in Italy, but honestly, Calandra's is just about the best, probably the best bread I've ever eaten. So anyway, that's enough of me rattling around. Welcome to my kitchen. This is it. I have all the things to cook and bake anything you could possibly imagine, pretty much, and it's tiny. So if I could fit it in here, you can fit it in your kitchen. Anyway, all right. So just really quickly, I have started already. This is 479 grams of bread flour. I prefer to use grams and weigh things. Weighing is more precise, and grams are more precise. And honestly, ounces are for idiots. But if you want to use ounces, I won't. It's in the recipe. But let's be honest. We got to get rid of this stupid American system. Use the metric system. Get with the rest of the world. Anyway, that's a different discussion. I also have about 310 grams of water. Yes, grams of water. I could do it in milliliters. However, it is, again, more precise to just stick this on the scale. Here's the scale. Digital scale. Measure it out. The recipe calls for about 298 to 340 grams of water. I found that 310 on most days works pretty well. Sorry for all the noise. It's my washing machine. It's in the kitchen. Yes. Again, very European. Finally, we have one more step in this Biga. The Biga, as compared to more of a French-style pre-ferment, I don't know how to say French words, so I'm not even going to tell you how to say that one. You look it up, figure it out. That would have salt in it, like a pre-ferment you do for a baguette, but this is not. This is just, all the salt will go in the final dough later. Flour, water, yeast, okay? So, I'm going to use my little scale to measure out the amount of yeast that I need. Now I'm using instant yeast because it is easier, it's finer, it goes right in, and I'm using also cold water because it doesn't matter with instant yeast. You don't have to pre-proof and do all that kind of stuff. That's just a big waste of time, and no one does that. But if you have if you have active dry, I have the conversions for that in the recipe as well. Anyway, just telling you what I do. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here, have it set for grams. I'm going to tare so it's zeroed out, and I need to measure out a very precise 2.3 grams, which is not much. The idea in a pre-ferment is that you need to use less yeast, which results in better flavor. There it is, 2.3. Okay? And all we have to do with this, we don't have to proof it or whatever they call that, whatever. Nothing. You stick it in the flour. See, I'm done. Easy. Okay, turn off my scale. And I'm just going to mix it up with a whisk. Just to get the yeast all in there. Alright, now I'm just going to pour my water in. I'm going to pour all of it in because I didn't use the full amount of water, so I'm pretty confident that this 310 grams of water should be pretty good. I got a spatula, rubber, silicone thing. I'm going to mix the dough with this to start, just because it's obviously mostly, it's half water, half flour, and it's going to be a little messy at first. You just get it going. You could do this in a stand mixer. I like to use my stand mixer for stiffer doughs, like bagel dough, bread dough. That's like a stiffer type of bread, but in this case, since we're doing a little more hydration, and I also do that for pizza dough, because that's a stiffer dough, like a New York style pizza dough. I use the stand mixer for that. But when it comes to the breads, I like to do them by hand, because I like to be a little more in touch with the consistency and all that. Alright, so this is, maybe I should bring the camera over here. Starting to come together. It's sticky. That's okay. Now I'm going to try not to get dough on the camera, or whatever, the phone. Bear with me a second. Might get bumpy. Okay, because you guys don't need to see me. You need to see the dough. Okay. And all I'm going to do is start just working it together until, like, the flour is pretty much incorporated into the dough. Probably have to record this whole video over that damn washing machine. But whatever. And once you get it to the point that most of your flour is incorporated, just pushing it up against the sides, and then I'll turn it out into the board. Here's where I'll probably need a little bit more flour, maybe. Might be enough in here. And we're going to save this bowl because we're going to use it to do our 2-hour initial rise before it goes into a tin. It's a cookie tin from Flemington. If you buy a car there, they give you cookies. Kind of cool. Save the tin, use it again. Got a few of them now. Anyway, so here's the dough. Let's see. See, it's like obviously loose and crumbly. It's gonna stick to your hands. Your hands are gonna get dirty. You won't die. Just don't worry about it. Now I can see this is starting to stick to the board a little. The idea is that you want to try to add as little flour as you can. You don't want a sticky dough, but you want to have hydration. Because also, as you knead, see I'm kneading on this wooden board, and it's going to absorb some moisture. Your hands are going to absorb some of the moisture. It will dry out. Some of it will evaporate as we're kneading, because we're going to knead for like 4 minutes or something like that. And so anyway, but I'm going to use a little bit of flour. I don't know, whatever you think a little bit is, probably good. Just to keep it from totally sticking to the board, because you don't want to have a shaggy, lumpy dough. We need to have a nice, smooth dough. Now this is different from like a sponge or some of those other pre-ferments that are really, like you wouldn't even be kneading or mixing. You would just like put it in the bowl. It would be like almost like a pancake batter. This is not that. This is Italian style pre-ferment. Basically half the dough. You can do this with any dough, any bread recipe that you want to pre-ferment, get a little more flavor, a little bit better browning. You can just divide your yeast in like thirds, and so only use 1/3 here. save the other 2/3 for your actual, the rest of the dough. And do half the flour, half the water. So bakers use this thing called the baker's percent, wherein like 100% is the amount of flour, and then everything else is a percentage based on how much it is relative to the flour. I did not write the recipe out that way because I already converted it into grams, into ounces, and then also, using cups and those type of things. Volume measurements are really the least ideal because depending on how your flour is packed and how precise you are with measuring water and all that stuff, is really just gonna, there's too many variables. It's too much of a pain, and you gotta every single time it could be different. I mean, it's gonna be different anyway. Humidity in the room could be higher based on how it is outside or whatever. And so yeah, that's like a concern. You can take those variables out by weighing, especially if you can use a digital scale, which honestly worth the investment. Not a lot of money. Again, I have a tiny kitchen. I can fit it. You can fit it. I'm sure most people have bigger kitchens than me. Also, if you ship stuff, like you buy and sell stuff on the internet, and you got to send something back, or you sold something on eBay, and you want to do that whole click and ship thing, and you need to weigh your package, there you go. Just weigh it on the scale. You don't have to go to the post office and pay more money for them to weigh it for you. All that kind of stuff. So anyway, kneading. This is what I've been doing in my life, in quarantine or whatever we're in. And thing is, I make leavened doughs all the time. You can see that I'm embracing the Italian side of my heritage, not the Jewish side, because today is the first day of Passover, and here I am kneading the second leavened dough of the day. Yeah, so I'm not making matzah, okay? Anyway. Yeah, so I'm just kneading away. Gotten decently good at this, and it might get a little sticky, but not sticky to the board, just a little tack to it, and that's a good thing. See, the dough is starting to come together, right? Maybe we'll give it a little more flour just because. See, it sticks to the board there. You can see this little bit here. Maybe just a little bit. Don't go pouring like a half a cup of flour on the board. I have a nightmare of dry, tough dough. But yeah, I would recommend that everyone try this, especially if you have a Dutch oven. If you don't have a Dutch oven, you have a pizza stone. Use the pizza stone. Maybe if you can figure out something to put over the bread for the first half an hour of cooking, like a all metal pot cover. You can't use one with a plastic handle. You'll melt it. But basically, the idea is that you're trying to trap the steam. That's why the Dutch oven is so good. Even like a big ceramic bowl. Like, I don't know if this thing is rated for the oven at all. It's just like a Faltzcraft thing. I mean, it's my proofing bowl, so I'm not going to risk it by trying. Plus, I don't have to. I have a Dutch oven. Yeah. It's basically, it just holds that steam in. Like a commercial oven, it releases giant amounts of steam when you put the breads in, and that gets the browning and the nice thick crust and just everything perfect about a loaf of bread. But we don't have that luxury unless you have one of those fancy Wolf stoves that do that, and clearly I don't have that. So Dutch oven, great. There's also other options out there. That Emile Henry company makes some cool ceramic bread bakers. They're really beautiful. I got one on order for baguettes. I'm excited about that. Everything's on sale now, trying to stimulate the economy. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I don't know, it hasn't shipped yet, but hopefully it's coming soon. Start making some baguettes. You got a ciabatta one. You got all sorts of things. You could spend thousands of dollars on bread accessories. But when it comes down to it, a $40 Lodge Dutch oven off of Amazon or TJ Maxx, when those stores open up, Home Goods and stuff, like $40, $50. Thing will definitely get used. But the idea, and I'm almost done kneading, I'll shut up and end this video. But the idea is that if during this whole time here we're all stuck inside and everything, if you have the ingredients, some bread flour and some salt and yeast, do this. Do it, every couple days even if you have this stuff, because then you get better at it. It becomes a routine, and then when this is all over, we can continue to bake breads, and it doesn't have to be like this massive, oh man, I need a bread undertaking. It's like, yeah, I make bread, You can really kind of do it all the time. If you plan it out well and you're used to the process, and it's not some tedious, thing, you can just bake a bread, and have fresh bread every couple days without going to the store. It's going to be better. And I don't know, more fun. Alright, I think this is coming out pretty nice. I'm going to use our proofing bowl over here, and this is not like one of these situations where you have to really oil it too much. I'll probably stick a little olive oil in there. Here's my favorite olive oil. If you live in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, whatever, ShopRite from Select Italian Grown Olives. This is really good olive oil. I don't mess around with olive oil. This is this is good, really good stuff. You eat this off of a spoon, so good. And definitely the best kept secret of ShopRite. Got my dough. I'm just gonna roll around in the oil a little bit. There won't be any oil in this bread. It's extreme lean dough. You could even make it without sugar. I do use a little sugar in the final dough. But if you really want to go calandra style, no sugar, no what do you call it? No oil, nothing. Just the basic French bread ingredients: flour, water, yeast, salt. That's really all you need. It's just about how you use it, quality ingredients, how you prep, how you bake, and also just it's just the technique. That's all. So it's not that hard to develop. You just got to do it. I'm not saying I'm some master bread baker, but they come out pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a towel here. And here's my other trick. I got a towel, regular old kitchen towel. You could cover this in saran wrap. That's just like wasted plastic. You could use that press and seal. That stuff works great, but more plastic. Here's what I do. I take this towel and I soak it, I get it wet, real wet, totally wet. And then, I wring it out so that all the water is in there. You don't want to have, flood. Alright, this goes on top of the bread, or the dough, covering it, and then I get this cover and plop it on there. The wetness helps, so the towel is not dry and the air doesn't get in. It works great. Works just as well as saran wrap. They were baking bread before plastic, so better to not use it if you don't have to. Anyway, okay, so that's that. And the next thing is going to happen. This is going to sit 2 hours, like I said. Then it's going to go in this tin over here. It's going to go in the fridge overnight. Tomorrow, you could even go 3 days in the fridge before you use it. But whatever you want. Tomorrow, I'm out of bread, so I'm going to take this out, break it up into pieces, and I'm going to put it into my dough, essentially. Okay, so anyway, this video is long enough to make a pre-ferment. It should be a 5-minute video. It's ridiculous, but there you go. Easy. Alright, I'll post this, and then tomorrow, check back. I will do the dough, and then maybe I will do the final, proofing, baking, take it out, all that kind of stuff. Alright, that's all I got for now. Hopefully someone watches this thing. I can't imagine why you would. It's really long. Okay, hope you made it this far. Bye.